Welcome to Twisted Plotlines, where authors chat and networks connect. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to hit that follow button to keep up with the latest episodes on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a comment with what you'd like to hear, and don't forget to drop a rating. Now, let's get into it. Please note, Twisted Plotlines is intended for mature audiences. We often discuss topics that may be inappropriate for listeners under 18. Please consider your mental health before listening.
We are going to deep dive in. We are talking all things fantasy. And we're going to touch on a little bit of fantasy for everybody, because I know fantasy means something for everyone. And we do have a special guest joining us later for this episode. Jordan, since you're the one on vacay coming to us from a hotel room, what's something exciting that's been happening with you?
Yeah, so I'm still doing the Lights Out audiobook when I don't have children present, and so far that has been absolutely awesome and fun. And I find myself giggling a lot and then also feeling other things. so, so that's what I am quote unquote reading. As for something, I don't know, new and stuff, my audiobook is underway and doing my own recordings of that has been quite the adventure and learning all of the things from both JJ and Gentleman Ghost. And hearing them in my ears has been phenomenal.
I cannot wait. So I'm so excited.
It's definitely, I can't wait to hear all of those things together.
You're on deck, babe.
So I literally just finished a book before we started the podcast. It's called Loving a Witch is Total Chaos. It's part of a trilogy. The third book drops December 16th. I forget who the author is. Hold on, my Kindle's right here and I can tell you. But the first book is called Loving a Vampire is Total Chaos. And it is such a cute book. It is so funny. It's a paranormal dark rom-com by Aura Hayes. Absolutely would recommend this series. So cute, gives you all the goody feels. I would give it like a 3 on the spice scale. Like it has its moments where you're just like, but nothing that's like, does that make sense?
I love that.
I don't know. I think she might. I don't know. I'd have to look her up on TikTok. I don't even know if I follow her on TikTok.
What's the name? Aura what?
Aura Hayes. Aura Hayes.
Beautiful. I'll look her up after. Miss Mary, what you been
Hi. As y'all know, in RGC, I've been super busy. But when I do find the time, I'm still currently reading A Soul to Take, no, A Soul to Keep. By
Oh, I love that series.
Yes, I still have not finished that.
Oh.
This is a series. Yeah, this is like a 7-book series.
Oh, Reed?
Yes. She's British.
What are you reading, Shay?
Shay, what are you reading?
Our book mail. And an unreleased book by a certain someone for research purposes.
Educational purposes.
I wonder who that could be.
Though, because she's creating graphics and content.
Which, by the way, for research purposes, t-shirts are available on Jordan's fourth wall if you're interested. They're very comfy.
Yes.
For educational purposes.
They have my hand on your chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, because a certain
by Miss Gray Word. She will swear up and down that it is not a romantasy. Because there's not fantasy world building, and this is why it works really well for this episode. However, it is a romance set in a freaking fantastical kingdom.
So it's a period piece?
I guess.
No, it's Ella Enchanted. I would compare it to
Oh,
Ella
I love
Enchanted.
Ella Enchanted.
Oh, okay.
It gets better. Okay. She made her own cover art.
I did know that. She did tell us that.
The postcard.
Yeah.
I fucked up completely. completely, idiotically, inexplicably fucked up.
Like, y'all, I don't think y'all can hear that pop.
Oh, no, you can hear it.
Ugh.
You guys doing ASMR? Like,
Yeah.
But
I don't
however,
have my pen.
she did write me a little note that none of y'all got, and it says, Mary, I am so sorry in advance. I adore you, Ray.
okay, okay, but mine was the best, and I will put a picture up here in a moment. I not only got the stuff in the box, but I got a signed card from Petrie, footprints and all. The bird, Petrie, her
Oh,
bird. Okay, it's gonna be framed, and I'm gonna put it up right here. Petrie signed. I win.
Petrie sent I
Congratulations,
win.
everybody. And then yeah, I've been very busy working on a marketing campaign for Miss M, and then I picked up a voice actor in the past week that I am doing marketing for. We'll be revamping him, so
Yay!
you'll probably see him as a guest here soon.
Oh, definitely. If we have to drag him in here kicking and screaming.
And then they're narrating an author for a dark romance that I think we're gonna do a live recording for. Um, so that
Yes,
is what
yes, yes.
I've been up to. We are going to pivot now into the theme. Is everybody ready?
Yes, ma'am.
good.
What?
The first little icebreaker question is, what was your introduction to fantasy? This can be TV show, it can be reading, YA, whatever, but what was your introduction to fantasy?
So for me, I think it depends on your definition of fantasy. Because if I think back to it, it was probably Percy Jackson. Like I'm not gonna like deep dive into Percy Jackson or anything like that. But I think that was my intro. And I feel like I got into it a lot later than what most readers do for that. At least I was older when I read that series than what I think the target audience was.
So I've got two because I was in third grade while we were reading Percy Jackson at the same time Twilight came out in '08. And I also got to meet Rick
I forget
Riordan.
how young you are.
Yes, I'm a
Did
2000s
you watch
baby.
Twilight in third grade?
Yes. I also watched New Moon in fourth grade. My mom screened it before she took me
Wasn't
to
it?
the movie theaters. Y'all, I was watching Phantom of the Opera at the age of 4. What are y'all talking about? Like my
Oh,
parents
I
took me to
love
the
Phantom of the Opera.
yes. My parents took me to the theaters
The
to go watch
theaters.
Emmy Resum.
Theaters.
Jay, what was your intro, my love?
Okay.
Mine started out as far as books go, was getting involved with again Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief. But when it comes to like movies and that whole like dark kind of fantasy, it was The Labyrinth with David Bowie.
Yes. Oh,
Because
I love
that
that
very
movie.
much like bringing that like fantastical, those elements, that the dark stuff, but like it's very intriguing. So that definitely was a big one for me. But as far as books go, it was definitely Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief, and then I remember was the second one, The Sea of Monsters, and then there was the
Yes.
Yes.
Labyrinth. Like there was something with that one
Uh
too.
huh. The Battle of
As
the
far as reading
Labyrinth.
goes, yes.
Actually, we have
I
the
when I
series.
say I deep dive Rick Riordan, I mean I read all of the Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief series, and then the follow-up series, The Heroes of Olympus. And then there is the Kane Chronicles, which tackles the Egyptian gods. And then there's an additional series that tackles the Roman aspects
Mm-hmm.
of the god of the Greek pantheon with
Yeah.
characters.
He
I
came.
went off the deep end. This was my
Yeah.
ADHD like wormhole.
No.
Basically
When he
anything
was
with Greek gods and goddesses, that was a hundred
yes.
percent it. Greek gods,
Yes.
goddesses, and that whole other realm of magic and stuff like that. What about you, Shay?
Mine's a little different. So I very much, I did not want to read mainstream, and
That doesn't
so
surprise me.
no, I
Yeah.
feel like I get those vibes. So I deep dive. I would say my very first like intro to it would have been House of Night. By PC Cast and Kristen Cast. It's a mother daughter duo. They are trad published, and there's some fun things that I'll get into with them later that fit into other topics that I've sprinkled in. But it's basically like a Vampire Academy. I also really liked Vampire Academy. I did
Yes.
not read Twilight until I was like way,
Yeah.
way, way older. I was too
Uh,
mainstream. I didn't want it. And then for TV shows, it was actually Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, very fantastical, elfies,
yes.
big kingdom realms. Like that was my vibe. I did not do the Percy Jackson. I did like unexpected events. There's a whole name for it. I forget what the
Series of unfortunate
Series of
events.
unfortunate events.
Yeah, that
Oh, I
one.
love the
Yes.
series of unfortunate
That's
events, and I was so excited when they made a movie, but I was mad because they put the first four books into one movie. But it was Jim Carrey, so I love Jim Carrey.
yes.
So
We love Jim
But the
Carrey.
TV show
But yeah,
was
those were.
fantastic that Netflix has of it. Everybody's kid just started acting up. Love that.
Please hold. Pause.
Can we go on a tiny little tangent?
Yes.
Okay, so Lucian and Emma are doing a recording. Both of them are under contract with an author. That's the ones I was talking about. There's a fence scene where he chases her and then handcuffs her to the fence and then edges her.
Yes.
Handcuffed to a fence.
Yes.
Okay,
locked
and
in,
it's a
bet
it's a
I want
and
it.
it's a biker romance.
Right.
Sorry, I figured that the fence would Jordan has a thing about him.
But that's fine.
What makes fantasy to you as a reader, and is that any different if you were necessarily writing fantasy? I know none of us are like publishing.
I
I'm not.
I will not. I won't say I will never write a fantasy because I have an idea and a rough outline for a fantasy. It's actually an Irish pirate, so
I
like,
love that.
yes, ma'am.
Oh,
But for me, fantasy is I want to like Crescent City is a really good example of what a good fantasy is for me because it takes something relatable and gives it that fantastical twist.
Yeah. No, so for me, honestly, it would be like the Touch of Darkness series for fantasy. Just because there's world building and like yes, it's still Greek mythology, so we kind of understand and have like the background of what's going on. But I love that. I don't like too much world building like there is in ACOTAR. There's so much when if y'all decide to read this as viewers, if y'all
Yeah.
decide to read this, hold on to the first book. Like SJM holds on to vulgar gestures and Feyre's watery bowels. Like I am talking like hold
Yeah,
on
ACOTAR,
tight.
that first book is it's rough to get through.
It is.
so for me, fantasy, and because I'm also actively writing one right now, fantasy for
Mm-hmm.
me is a way to take those reality concepts and amplify them. It's kind of like a poem in a sense, where you take what you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling, but you bring it to the next level in a way that it just it amplifies it into a way where people can connect and pull things from it that you yourself might not have been writing that way in the first place. So
Yeah.
with fantasy for me, I think it's a really good way to escape from reality in a sense, but taking those
Yes.
concepts and putting it in there in a way that makes you feel even more alive. So with my fantasy that I'm writing, I am taking everything because I very much write how I feel, and I'm taking everything that I feel at that like surface level in a sense, and I'm making it anything that I could possibly imagine through this creative filter to feel all of that and put it down on paper. Like, and to relive that in a sense that makes it even that much better than in my head. So that's fantasy is an escape in a sense, but it also, you can pull from those different elements to of what's really kind of going on around you.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm very literal with mine. So like, I have a creative writing degree. I don't know if I have mentioned that on this before. So my like training on genres is very like black and white. And so for me, I'm looking for certain elements. I am looking for magic. There has to be a
Mm-hmm.
magic system. I am not calling it a fantasy without the magical system in there
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, some way.
Mm-hmm.
I also really opposite of Mary here. I love the world building. I want big, fantastical world building. Like everybody complaining about Onyx Storm and like the big map,
No,
and I'm like, gimme, 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 gimme.
Onyx Storm was a good balance, in
Yes.
my opinion.
Oh, so cute.
Okay, I'm okay with world building. However, if it takes you 15 chapters to get through a basic concept, you've lost me. The first time I tried to read ACOTAR, it took me 2 times to get through it. The first time I tried to read ACOTAR, I could not get past the first chapter.
We
It was torture for me. And I don't know if it's like the ADHD in my brain that's just like, okay, next, 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 next. But I'm okay with world building within reason. Like, you don't have to do it all on the front end. You can sprinkle it throughout, and I think that it would just make it flow so much better. But that's probably just personal preference.
You just want to razzle dazzle a little like
Just
here and there.
give me a little, make it glitter, make it shine.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, but yeah, I like the
make us a
big
pixie.
fantasy worlds. I like different like creatures is a big thing that I want. I want it to be as far from real as it possibly can be.
I
Yes.
do like that element when it's so fantastical. You're like, where the fuck did they get this idea?
Like, where did it come from?
Yeah.
When it comes to fantasy subgenres and categories, is there a favorite
I love
for you guys?
I
And is there
love
one that you wish
Disney.
people would?
I love Disney retells.
We
I'm
love what?
so sorry I interrupted you that much, but like I'm over here looking at my bookshelf, and for fantasy, I love Disney, or like just like the Disney princesses retellings so much.
I do like those. I have read Glass and what's the Rapunzel retelling that I read? I can't remember the title of it. But I've also read, and they're all dark retellings and mostly white shoe. They're all white shoes, but that's probably a comment on me more so than anything else. I think my favorite fantasy retelling though is the Never King series. It is a dark Peter Pan retelling.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It is Nikki St. Crow.
Yes.
Absolutely 100% recommend. And then you get and I only recently discovered it. And there's an audiobook too, and it's just um you get the Crocodile and Hook and the original Wendy Darling as a throuple.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Yes.
Crocodile?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. So
all I'm hearing.
they anthropomorphized the crocodile, because you know the crocodile in Peter Pan, the one that's got the eyes that go doo 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 doo, and it torments Hook. Well, in this case, Croc, his name is Rock, ROC, and his nickname is the Crocodile. He is the devourer of men. That is the title of the book, by the way. And he has a shadow beast inside of him that can take over and devour people whole. So
What you're describing, it makes me think of Once Upon a Time, and I know that's a TV show,
Yes.
but Once Upon
yes,
a
I
Time,
love
and then can I just Hook? That's all I want to say is Hook.
I
Anyways,
have never seen that show, but I've seen the previews for it back when ABC Family was a thing, or whatever network it came on.
ABC
Um,
Family. Or no,
and
it's
it is very much Once Upon a Time coded.
hmm no. So this was my favorite YA book, like this entire series. It's now
What is
decrepit.
that?
It's called The Fairest Beauty, and it's a retelling of Snow White and the
Beauty and
Seven
the Beast.
Dwarfs. No. That's the
Oh,
merchant's daughter. That's Beauty and the Beast. And it's so good.
I'm okay.
Ooh, all right. Oh, dropping
So,
things on me.
would like fantastical retellings of childhood stories be your guys' favorite out of this conversation that I'm gathering?
Yes.
As much as I love that, I still very much romantasy.
Yes.
Still very much romantasy as a subgenre because I'm a hopeless romantic. And it's funny because I'll text Shay something that I'm like, oh my gosh, look what just happened. This made my heart go this. And she's like, I love that for you. You're so cute. And I'm like, but
She's a little lover girl, and I love that for her. So,
Okay.
question I have a follow up on the
Okay.
romantasy.
Okay.
What is the equation to fantasy and romance elements for you to consider it a romantasy, Jordan?
for me, for me, the obviously there has to be magic involved, very much bonded in some way, like especially if it's romantasy, like with the
Faded.
romance, that has to be the plot has to be driven with both of the things intertwined. Like maybe it's a curse, maybe it's fate, maybe it's bonded mates. There has to be something intertwined with the magical elements going on as well as the romance between the two. So that to me makes a romantasy. Now, I understand that with fantasy, there can be some side romance involved, but that doesn't drive the story. What drives the story has to do with these two people or multiple people involved romantically.
That is actually a really good. So I'm gonna go off on another tangent. Sorry. It took me a very long time to know the difference between fantasy and romantasy, and the way it was explained to me is that romantasy is a romantic fantasy, which means the romance is heavier than the fantasy elements,
Yeah.
versus a fantasy where it doesn't necessarily have to have a romantic plot line, but so a lot of the time it is a side product. It is a side effect of the fantasy plot. But yeah, that was it was a short one.
Good job. At least you told me first. Mary, did you answer the question?
I don't think so, but
Yeah, she started
my answer, um,
Okay.
my answer is the same as M's, if I'm being 100% honest with you. Rom-
Fantastical
Shay, what's your
retelling.
answer?
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny today. I would very much say that I'm a high fantasy girly.
mm,
I want fae or kingdoms, and I want give me all of it.
So is
My
that what classifies a high fantasy versus something
to
like Fourth Wing?
to me, Fourth Wing is not high fantasy. To me, Fourth
yeah.
Wing is romantasy because the romance drives the plot. Um,
I would have classified it as fantasy over romantasy,
if
personally.
you look at so for trad publishing, Fourth Wing is marketed as a romantasy because
Really?
the enemies to lovers, the star-crossed lovers of it all is what drives the story.
Yeah.
Especially as we progressed into episode, or into book three, and now into book four.
I'm so
And
excited for Threshing Day.
I know. Even though there
Same.
are there's fantasy plots to it, there's the romance is really kind of what drives our characters' actions, essentially.
Okay. I
So
guess
for
I can
me,
concede to that.
yeah, I would say like for me, high fantasy and what I would categorize it at is going to be like your more traditional fantasy elements where somebody has to save the world from utter doom because of XYZ reason in some fantastical realm. Um,
Mm.
that is definitely like where my brain goes with it, which is a good thing. That leads us into the next little part of this fantasy starter packs. as fantasy, romantasy has really boomed as a genre, in the front of books, generally you're going to find a map, a glossary, a pronunciation guide,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes some family trees, 3 pages of made up history just so you have some sort of prologue so you know what the heck's going on in the world, etc. So, for you guys as readers, do you guys use these maps? Do you guys skip through the glossaries
Nope.
and all of that context that the
Oh
authors
no,
put on?
give me all the
Nope.
pronunciation guides because if I
Mm-hmm.
mispronounce the name, it's going to drive me crazy and it will take me from the story. Give me all the glossaries, give me all the pronunciations, give it to me spelled. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect, but spell it phonetically. The way you say it in your head as an author, I want it spelled out on that page. So if it needs to be the character's name, and then in parentheses, like let's take Aelin for example, because she's just the first one on top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's spelled Aelin. That is not what I thought when I first saw that name.
No, at
Especially
all.
Sardothian, Selena Sardothian. The fuck kind of name is that? I had no idea how to say that name. So I'm gonna need a, in parentheses, say, S-A-Y, lay, L-A-Y, and I'm gonna need it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, and
That's how that should
also
be.
I'm very much the
chaos.
opposite. I am very much the opposite. It's I will see the map, I will see the stuff, I will see the things, and I'll like gloss over it and get started into the book, and then I will deep dive into the book, and then I'll go back and figure out where I went wrong. And maybe it's the ADHD in me. Maybe it is the I'm very much I don't want to listen to the rules. When I play a game, I don't want to read the rule book. I just want to play the game and figure it out along the way. And then when I
No!
make the
You
inevitable
don't read the
mistakes,
instructions?
I don't read the instructions. I just play the game.
No, she plays
Okay,
it.
but I am very much a hands-on learner. Okay. I want
I
to
mean,
just
I am
dive in
too.
and feel it out. I don't want to sit there and because here's the thing, those names to me don't have meaning when I'm just reading them and I'm gonna forget. So stop rolling your eyes at me, Em. Okay. First of all, I
Okay,
know it's
no, no, no,
pixelated,
no,
but I
no,
can see
no,
it.
no, no. I don't care about what their shit is trying. I don't
It's on
care
topic.
what their role is in the storyline in the beginning. I don't want to know what their role is in the beginning. I just want to know how to say their names.
I know,
Listen,
but their names have no meaning to me, so I don't want to try to remember it.
I just want to
their
pronounce it
names.
right. That's it.
Listen, like when I read was it Onyx?
This is where it was going. If you are writing fantasy, which I know that I dabble in romantasy, I know Jordan's writing, I know M's dabbled, we've all kind of dabbled. When you come up with names, how are you doing it?
My history dork comes into play. I will go ahead and say my FMC in the plot, the basic plot that I have for the pirate fantasy is her name is Calypso, and
Yeah.
like so I
No.
will I'm leaning very heavily into the history of Irish culture and mythology, the Celtics, whatever you want to say. But yes, I am doing a shitload of research when it comes to all of that.
No, my
So that's where I get my names from.
So when I think of names for my fantasy, I'm very much into symbolism and their names have to have a meaning that's also embedded within the story. So in my romantasy right now, I have two names. I have Kalux, which is sky, which is command sky light, and then Saravin, but she's going to go by Avon, which is very much calm waters and anchor. And all of those have a specific purpose for who they are. He's going to have this light that she actually has to anchor him and ground him. So they very much play off of each other. He's very much light, she's very much night, but she grounds him. So I have to have meaning and purpose behind those names. So I'm looking at the roots of different things and different meanings and finding what pairs up with each other and what is like the opposite of or mirrors them. So that's very important to me. And even though I won't read it my own, I will 100% definitely um have a glossary with how to pronounce things.
So for like the romantasy books that I have in my stuff right now, all the main characters' names are very pronounceable. I was about to say a word that was gonna be scratched off on the bingo card, but for one of the first ones that I'll be coming out with, it's MMC's name is Robert and FMC's name is Amelia. No. I'm only giving you all like a tad bit of information because y'all know how secretive I am about my stuff when it comes to the world knowing about it.
Definitely am similar to M. I really like mythology or meanings within my name, or yeah, my names that are going to be sprinkled throughout the book with some sort of theme. Um, and having that set up so it is kind of the same way. So I want my names to mean something to the characters themselves, usually some sort of like character trait or moral, etc. Or I sprinkle in mythology here and there. I'll even take the name and turn it into an anagram. If I'm feeling
That's
super
smart.
crazy, it's really fun, and it's one of those like literary devices that I think are lost in mass media.
Yeah.
But I really like to play on those when I am writing specifically, and I love it when
Nice.
they are in other stories like Aelin and Elaine. And that's
Yes.
scary. And so I really like it when that type of things are just like sprinkled
Yes.
without. Do you ever think that takes away from the impact of the story or the want to read the story?
No, as long as it's done right. Like, don't just throw in some fluffy stuff there just because it sounds cool. It has to connect to the story in one way or the other, and it has to contribute to it in one way or the other. So, as long as it has purpose and meaning, then yeah, give it to me. But if you're just throwing in something because it sounds cool and not giving it true meaning, then it's like, why is that there? It makes you, why is that there? And it takes you out of the fantasy.
No, so for me, I go straight to audiobooks so I can listen to everything first. So I'm not wanting to put down the book because I get super frustrated. Like y'all, okay, I don't think the audience knows this yet. I am severely dyslexic that names like Aelin and Selena, if I did not know their names beforehand, would have 100% DNF'd it because my dyslexia cannot handle that. So when I say fantasy is the only book trophies that I have because I'm I will go listen to it first and then I'll pick up the book and be like, "Oh, that's how you spell that word." You know? That's how you spell that name. Oh, but yeah, no, I feel like what Jay was saying is that everything does need to connect. It needs to connect to the basic roots of the world and what the fantasy is and the problem. Like for my upcoming romantasy that I'm still like I have like a huge outline for this book right now. It's it's star-crossed lovers, enemies to lovers. It's two different kingdoms and everything like that. Land and sea. Um, there's a lot of research that goes on behind romantasy and everything.
I agree. I think every aspect of the world building should have a purpose. Now, if you're going to pull an SJM and you're going to, or like a Rebecca Yarros, and you're going to sprinkle something in like the epitaph, is that what it's called at the beginning? Like the chapter header type thing
Yeah.
that Rebecca Yarros does.
Yes.
So if you're going to sprinkle something in like an epitaph or sprinkle something in the world building it has to come back in the same book, in my opinion, because otherwise I'm going to forget about it. I'm not going to realize its relevance, and it's going to be nothing to me when the big reveal happens. But yes, every little ounce of world building should have a purpose. I don't think that if you're going to talk about Island X off of the coast of mainland C, then Island X needs to be relevant to the plot at its core. You will lose me. If there's too much fluff, you will lose me very quickly. I give every single book, fantasy, romantic, contemporary, dark, small town, monster, whatever it may be. I give every single book 5 chapters. If you cannot hook me in 5 chapters, that's it. Now, that's like I said earlier, the first time I read ACOTAR, I barely made it through chapter 1, and it's just because it was just like mind-numbingly slow. But going back the second time, I was like, okay, I can do this. But yeah, if you can't hook me in 5 chapters, you've lost me. So if you add all of your world building up front, it needs to be completely relevant and it needs to push the story forward. It needs to be your main character talking about what happened. Like, let's say it's like a post-apocalyptic type fantasy base, whatever you want to call it. The world ended or whatever, and this is what's happened in the last 20 years, and this is where we are now. Like, I literally, the book that I read, what's her name? St. John is her last name.
I don't know.
I finished her book. It was like Broken Demon or something like that. I'll have to look it up because I can't remember her first name. Dante St. John.
Oh.
Dante St. John. She starts all of her books from the perspective of one of the main characters, and then like 2 or 3 chapters later, she's like a little bit of backstory, and it's like the world broke 20 years ago, and ever since then, X hasn't worked, Y hasn't been the same, Z hasn't done this, and I'm like, okay, see, I can get with this because it aids the plot and it moves the story. What about you?
So yes, as long as it's relevant. I would say I'm kind of the same way. However, again, I think I have a big tolerance for the big world building. So I'm a little bit more patient. When it comes to like specifically that, I would say I think if anybody's going to write fantasy and wants to figure out how to world build in a way that is adaptive and interactive with readers, like keeps their attention, I would recommend Caraval. I don't know if anybody else here has read it, but it's amazing. It is not super spicy. It is, I would very much say, an intro to book talk, an intro to fantasy, and it follows 2 sisters as they travel through a magical Caraval, essentially trying to find this man who can like save them. So it has those type of elements, but the way that it's built is it's a sprinkle. You get a journey, and then from the journey you go to the magical land, and then in the magical land you have a puzzle to solve, and you solve the puzzle to save the maiden, and there's a twist of sacrifice, and like it just has those elements, but it's sprinkled in a way where you get the idea that the world is going to be bigger than what you're given in the first book. But not in a way that's overwhelming. And I think that's kind of like my recipe when I'm building my fantasy worlds. I'm very much the same way. I want to give little pieces here and there to where they can understand what the world is, but it's not overwhelming and front loaded. So I think we all kind of like it the same way. So I'm going to give a really quick overview so everybody knows what to expect, and then we will dive right in. So we are going to start in kind of fantasy through the years. We're going to start with like classical fantasy elements. We'll dabble a little bit in that. We'll talk about the early 2000s and YA boom. And then from there, how that led to fantasy growing with us and authors regenreing or rewriting books that now match who their target audience was the first time that they published, and into book talk fantasy and how that has influenced the genre as a whole. Does everybody follow?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So the first little part is going to kind of swaddle. It's fine. Um, so fantasy through the years, classical fantasy, it's the foundations of the genre itself. So when you guys think of like classical fantasy, the people who founded what you think of as fantasy, what are some names that like y'all
Magic
think
Tree
of?
House.
Tolkien.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Hmm? Tolkien, Harry
Tolkien,
Potter.
Rowling,
Yeah.
Lewis, yes. Especially heavy on the Lewis.
Heavy Lewis.
Heavy, heavy Lewis.
Yeah.
Even
Narnia
like
was a big.
Sanderson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So traditional fantasy themes, when we're thinking classical fantasy, it had like the Chosen One or epic quests or good versus
Hmm.
evil. Very black and white. Here's the story: medieval
Yeah.
kingdoms, long journeys, ancient prophecies. Those type of tropes. Why do you think that they have continued to resonate with readers and continue to reoccur even in modern fantasy novels?
Ooh, I have a good one.
I honestly think it's escapism at its finest.
Hmm.
And that, I mean, and that could just be very surface level, but I really and truly think it's escapism because even though it's a fantasy book or a fantasy movie or show or whatever it may be, there's going to be elements of reality in there that have been exaggerated or downplayed in one form or another. And that gives it a resolution. Even though that resolution may not be the case of what happens IRL, in the book, in the show, in the movie, or whatever it may be, it has the happy ending. Or I'm gonna go with happy ending. I'm a sucker for happy endings. I'm gonna go with happy endings.
Yeah.
It has the happy ending that you want. It has the resolution that you want. So while you might go on a journey, you might go on this long quest, in the end, good versus evil, good is going to come out on top, and all is going to be right with the world at the end of the day. So I think it's escapism is why it still resonates today.
I'm gonna piggyback off of M with the escapism. Like with the magic, it it makes the reader feel like they can have a sense of control because there's casting spells to get rid of a problem. There's XYZ, there's dragons, there's turning into a whole different species. And you can just run away from your problems. And that's
You can
why
magic away the
fantasy,
problem. Yeah.
yeah, that's why fantasy has, and falling in love with like a 300, 3,000 year old man, doesn't hurt
I
either.
want to talk about that in a later episode, by the way. Why the
There,
fuck is
there,
there always a
there are
300-year age gap?
listen. There is a 300 age gap because it takes men that long to get where we're at mentally. Bottom line, end of story.
To like traditional fantasy tropes.
No, no, no. I know the tropes. Yeah.
So traditional fantasy tropes, why do you think they continue to resonate with readers and writers within the modern fantasy elements and genre that it is today?
Because in our modern society, our world is so messed up. We're still looking for that chosen one, that hero to freaking save us. Percy Jackson to come in and just fix the things because everything is broken. Okay.
Everything is fucked in its.
I need a hero. That's what we need. Like
I
that.
need a hero.
I'm holding on for a hero at the end of the night.
He's
Karaoke.
gotta be strong and he's gotta
I
be
would
tough.
say, and so nostalgia itself is marketable. You always want to go back to the things that bring you comfort, and the things that make you feel comfortable. What is predictable? It makes our brains happy from a psychological, like marketing point of view. If it makes our brains happy and it's something that we can predict and that our brains don't have to like question when we need a moment, that's what we're going to like want. What we're going to resonate with. Yes, Jordan.
With the nostalgia piece, it comes from when we're children and we're naive to the world that's going on around us. So brings us back to the simpler time where the world
No,
was still chaotic and ridiculous,
But we
But
didn't
we
but we
know.
didn't
weren't.
know.
We
We
weren't
didn't
no.
know. So we want to
With
go back
what's
to
going,
what is it? Blissful ignorance.
Give
yes.
me 1999 The Mummy and Scooby Doo and Harry Potter, and I will be a complete couch potato. I will grow roots. I will never move again.
I
That's
will,
why I love my happily ever afters, my HGAs.
we can fix them, even they're 30,000 years old.
Brendan Fraser does not need to be fixed.
You know what?
Brendan Fraser is
So
perfection.
this is a great segue. You can't fix them. as we learned in the early 2000s with Harry Potter and Percy Jackson and Shadowhunters and the Vampire Academy, and I'm going to mute Jordan real quick, and Erica and Beautiful Creatures. So the early 2000s is Beautiful Creatures is
Yes,
considered a
I only read
fantasy.
the first book.
See, I did not know that.
Oh, it's a fantasy. It's got magic, and you have a magical system world.
Yeah, they're
Exactly.
Know that.
witches.
Um,
They're
Teen
witches.
Wolf, like hello.
Yes.
But most of these in the early 2000s and into the YA fantasy boom, we saw magical schools, we saw hidden magical worlds, coming of age stories,
Mm-hmm.
teen protagonists that had to save the world, even if you can't fix them, still saving the world. Um,
Wait, pause. We need a
uh,
side quest real
and then
quick.
What the fuck?
Why did we have to take the hotel room phone?
what? Hold on.
Why did I have to take the hotel room phone? Because my son, my 2-year-old son, is on the phone pressing room service again.
So you
So I
took
had to
the whole
unplug it from the wall.
I'm pretty sure it's a fire hazard.
We're keeping this in. We're keeping this in.
Bring me some beverages, please.
Oh my god, that's great. Okay, what were we
We knew
talking
the side
about?
quest was gonna be worth it.
Why do you guys think that YA in the early 2000s boomed the way that it did?
I'm gonna go with the Y2K scared. The Mayan calendar ended in the year 2000, right? I
No,
think
it ended in
it.
2012.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Or
Yeah.
whatever the new millennium fear was, I think that had a
Computers.
big impact.
It was computers taking over
Yes.
the world, and also, um, C.S. Lewis created Narnia based off of Christianity, and that was the safest topic. And then we have Tolkien, who
Yes.
says it's not based off any religion, but you still have the Christianity community saying this is safe. This is not Tolkien, but this book is safe for our children to read. There's no computers. There's no taking over the world. This is not that book's called. What is it? 1989?
George Orwell's 1989.
Yeah. Like there's nothing scary. There's safe. This is
Definitely. Y2K and religion.
If
Okay,
you
but on the
remember
flip
right,
side, on the flip side, what about, because I had friends when Harry Potter was big being
that's
like,
where I was
I'm not
going.
allowed
That's where I
to
was going.
watch
Yep.
that. I'm not
Yeah,
allowed to watch that because of my religion.
because
My belief in
witchcraft.
witchcraft and stuff like that. So there's a flip side, but that was still such a big boom. So it's like you had the big boom for religion, and then you had the big boom that for those who maybe it was still okay with.
I knew a girl in college. Keep in mind, I graduated high school in 2014. I graduated college in 2018. So in that 4 year span, I knew a girl in college who, to that day, and as far as I'm aware, to this day currently, has still never seen Harry Potter because of her religion.
no. I did grow up with
Me,
friends who couldn't even watch Wizards of Waverly Place, and they were like a like not even like the
Yeah, those were
culty
Disney
Christians.
Channel,
Yeah,
not the
not even.
culty Christians.
Listen, yeah, we all
We're
have one
all
of those
fucking
too.
cultish.
But I mean, like she was Lutheran, and her parents were still like, nah, witchcraft. And then she would come over to my house and say, "Hey, can we watch Wizards of Waverly Place?" No, girl, I'm not about to get in like quadruple trouble. Her parents, no.
I'm gonna give you
Listen.
guys the marketing answer. Um, the early 2000s, most of those fantasy worlds resonated with multiple audiences. And so it connected. I mean, most of us were in our teen years at that point, right? Or preteens. Um, and so like it resonated with our parents and it also resonated with us. And it was a story that connected on multiple different generations, which is what made it marketable. And is really what made it like boom. She's yelling at her kid, not talking to me. And so like I really think that like especially I've done a lot more research on these type of things than I ever wanted to do. And
Fucking
so
school.
school. Um, and so during those years, it was one of those things where I think I during the early 2000s, I think it's fair to say that like the Atomic Family was still very popular.
Hmm.
You spent Friday nights with your parents. You guys had a movie night. You guys did pizza, right? And so we
Oh
were going
yeah.
to the theater. Yeah, exactly. We're like renting movies. We're going to the theaters. We're looking at
Blockbuster.
family video. Um,
And when Netflix was sending DVDs out,
The red box, yes.
Yeah. No, I remember Netflix doing their hybrid service where if it was not available stream on their website in about 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And I just remember like the ending of Blockbusters where their stores were just closing down. Again, I'm a Y2K baby. Legit I was legitimately born in the year 2000. Um my first year of high school was M's graduating year. M's gra-
God. So what were you saying about the Atomic Family?
during that time, the Atomic Family was still really popular. And that is kind of like where they were able to continue to drive the market and connect with multiple audiences. Basically, just like get people to keep reading, get people to keep watching the movies, um, and keep coming back like library cards, you know. Yeah.
So how does Harry Potter play into the Atomic Family? Because his parents are dead.
His
It's
parents
like
are
the
dead, but the
whole
professors are
premise.
older, right? And they have a ton of like on-screen time.
okay, but
Mhm.
found family is really big.
Found family,
And
yes,
so,
but found family is not Atomic Family.
it's like Lilo and Stitch.
but I feel like I
I'm not saying the Atomic Family necessarily had to be in the show, but it definitely influenced us looking for it.
Gotcha.
Hop into the game. Um, I guess when it comes to fantasy and what we grew up with as fantasy, do you personally like it when they um, rewrite or age up their characters to match that audience, or no?
If I don't know the backstory, like if there's a book and then a movie adaptation later, if I haven't read the book and I don't know, it doesn't bother me. But if I have, like, for example, Twilight, yeah, exactly.
Specifically talking books. So, like, say one of your authors from the early 2000s it continues writing books, right? Takes a break and then comes back now that we are in our almost 30s and writes a book with the same characters but are now our age.
I would love the fuck out of that. I really would. I want to know what Harry and Ginny have been up to with their kid. I want to know. That's really the only one I can come up with right now, off the top of my head.
I
I've
want
had
to
3
know
glasses of wine, if not more.
what I want to know what's going on with Renesmee.
Yeah, no, I want to know. I would love that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Give me Renesmee and Jacob. I want that story. I didn't touch Midnight Sun, but give me a Renesmee and Jacob story and tell me how that's happened or how that's been going over the last, I don't know how many years. I don't want to think about it because it'll make me sad and make me drink more. Um, tell me about Renesmee and Jacob. Let me know what's going on with them.
So,
Give me
okay.
like a check-in. It doesn't have to be a full-length novel. Give me a novella. Give
No,
me a
okay,
quick-paced
so
novella.
Stephanie Myers has answered this question. For her, they are still um in the after days, like current after of the Volturi um a battle.
Stop.
Yes.
I don't care. The Volturi resolution came and was met. I don't
Hmm.
care what happened in the days and the weeks following. Like we said, give me the
And
Renesmee and the Jacob
and that's why she hasn't
20 years
written
down the road.
and that's why she hasn't written anything else about them, because they haven't spoken to her, because they are still living in that whole peace in her mind.
Mm. I mean, I get writer's block, but if you're okay, that's all I got to say about that.
I asked because there have been authors who have done that, who have taken their characters and aged them up in the audiences, basically to like re-resonate the story. PC
Mm-hmm.
Cast and Kristen Cast, like I was talking about earlier, their total series is like 13 books. It dominated the fantasy world, or in the YA genre specifically. When I think the first book came out in like 2011. And she wrote her characters well into the 20s, with a second series, in a different world, same characters. And now she is releasing a book in 2027 following one of the original cast members of the book, who is now our age, and it's going to be spicy and it's going to be smut. And she's basically taking what is marketable now for book talk, putting it into that world that's so loved and fandomed and still followed.
I
Um,
love that.
Me too. I'm super excited, and the character that she picked is not one that we would have expected. And so we get to see a different dynamic and a different point of view and all this stuff. But she aged it up
I
well
love
into the
that.
audience.
So Sophie Lark does something similar with her Kingmaker series. It's a Mafia Academy series, so it's dark academia set in a mafia world. And the first 7, 8 books, whatever it is, follows these characters. The first book is an enemies to lovers, and it's rival mafias marrying their son and their daughter together, and then they're going to this college and they're being trained on how to be mafia rulers. And it goes down the list of all these different characters and their stories or whatever. But then you get this follow up series. I think it's still called The Kingmakers, but it's the children of those original characters. And Jennifer Ford does this too in her small town romance. That It's the Mitchell family series, and that series is actually what got me into the romance genre in the first place. But I like following, and it's not the same as aging your characters up, but I like the continuation of the story, because even though in Kingmakers and then in the Mitchell family series, while these particular books follow the children, you still see the parents, which are the original characters you fell in love with in the first place. So you see them older and you see them wiser and you see them, this is what happened to me and your dad. This is what happened to your mom and I, and this is the journey that we went through.
It's a
So
very dynamic story.
yeah, yeah, I enjoy that. So I'm all for aging characters up to fit modern times. I cannot wait. Hi, how are you? So, welcome to Twisted Plotlines. It's gonna be fun. Let's go over who you are. Introduce us. Introduce yourself to us.
My name is Dan Bonzer. I wrote started a fantasy series that stars an elf bard, and she's over 100 and all that fun stuff. Even though people find my stories fascinating, I find the story that I'm writing even more fascinating. But yeah, so you've got 100 plus year old elf bard who travels around doing the singer songwriter thing, and then Um, she, because she's a she and she's over 100, she's gone through the trauma we that shall not be mentioned that we all know about. That seems like society has to do, and I baked that in there on purpose to make her real and relatable, but also to understand it better and to bring light to it. After you get through that, it was a fun thing of just writing a whole series of stories to where it was originally going to be like serialized, and she was just going to go from adventure to adventure, and then somewhere along the way, I started making huge overarching plots, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to have to stop and plan this, or I'm going to keep starting plots and not finishing them. And so, yeah, I ended up mapping out 20 stories, and then I had to go back and write a new introduction story. And then each book contains 3 stories.
Oh, wow. So you write fantasy. What sort of fantasy do you write?
That's hard to pin down. It's high fantasy because it stars an elf, and then
Okay.
there's dwarves, gnomes, humans, all of that. There's dragons, that kind of stuff. It's epic because it spans a long time. It goes across several books, but at its root, it's sword and sorcery, which is grittier, more personal stories that normally aren't about world-ending plots. Uh, Most famously, Conan the Barbarian was like that. He was, always like regional and more character-driven and that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of a mix of all of those because I'm inspired by all of it, and
Hmm.
this is the book I wanted to read, so I wrote it.
Well, there you go. What got
Yeah.
you started on your fantasy journey?
So the fun part is, well, I've always loved fantasy. I've read fantasy for a very long time, and somewhere along the way, I mean, this particular character came up because I was playing an MMO, and so I was like, I got into it. I found a heavy role play community, and I was like, oh, I want to get into it. What?
I'm sorry, what's MMO?
Ah, uh, massive multiplayer online role playing game. Most people, when they hear that, would think
Okay.
of World of Warcraft. But my flavor was called EverQuest 2. Yeah. Um, and they had like it was a lot of lore, a lot of great characters, huge role playing community. Long story short, the best way to say it is like they have taverns that people make in their houses. So they turn their houses into a tavern and they open it. Say, hey, my bar is open from something to something on Thursday night, and so everybody shows up there and they play their characters, and there's a stage, and I was like, do people get on that stage? And they're like, well, every now and then somebody will do a song. They'll get up there and they'll actually parody a real life song and write it into the lore of the game. And I was like, well, do people do like their own songs? Because I'm a poet. And they were like, sometimes it's rare. And then I'm like, well, what about full sets? Like, does anybody get up there for a full hour and just copy and paste in music? And they're like, this never happened before. And I'm like, done. And so I did it. I wrote 52 poems in a week. I remember that number specifically because out of weeks of the year. I was rhyming by the end of it. Specifically in the character's voice.
I'm
Then,
sure you were.
yeah, it was daunting. At the end of that though, I had a character that had all this poetry, all these songs that I could just go up there and perform. And what you do is you copy in a stanza at a time, and then you do a /em/emote and type in what she's doing for the performance. Anyways, by the end of a couple of months, uh, the character was house barred in 3 different locations, playing weekly. There were 5 other locations that was constantly clamoring to get her in. People showed up for an hour every one of these times. Not only were they sit there and listen, read my poetry, but they would actually request songs because they had favorites. So I was technically playing a rock star, and which was fun because I was like adjacent
That
to
is
all the
so cool.
drama. of the role play, which there was some really amazing role play, amazing stories, but I was kind of adjacent, but I wasn't technically in it. So I got to experience a lot of fun characters, just amazing stuff. And at the end of the day, whenever I left the game, I didn't want to leave the character behind. And so I had to take the game out of the character
That is
and
so
make a new
cool.
world.
So then tell us about this world. Tell us about your world building process. Give us a little background on your main character. Can you show us the cover? Give us all the info. Give us all the dirty details. Share your artist if you have an artist, so we can tag them in the podcast post when we do clips. Because we don't gatekeep around here. Good artist is a good artist, and we're going to share that.
Exactly. Yeah, well, the fun thing is, it's like, even though people have argued with me, like, oh, I don't want characters on the cover, you got characters on the cover. So that's Opus 1.
I love characters. Give me the characters.
Mm-hmm. Opus 2 has 2 characters on it. So like a different view of the main character. One is called The Suite of Seduction, Lost Love, and Revenge. The Opus 2 is called The Suite of Wolves, Poison, and Revelry. So yeah, it's they're each of those phrases / words corresponds to one of the stories in the book. So little callback to it.
Okay, so is there multiple stories in one book?
Yeah.
Is that what I understood?
Yep, 3 stories each book. And so this is an interior artwork that I have on the back cover because I go hard into the musical theming. This is the cover page to each story. And then every chapter is called a movement.
It's so beautiful.
Little character art. Yeah. And then on book 2, I have 3 character arts in it. And the fun thing is, you have to get into more fun characters about that one. We'll get to her in a minute. But the same idea in the second book, which was, story cover page. And then each chapter, it has the character that carries POV for most of the chapter.
Oh, that's so cute. Instead of the clef, it's the character. That's so clever.
Yeah, I
love that so much.
Yeah, I really tried some fun stuff. And as far as world building goes, I literally didn't want to have a world to begin with. I was like, I'm tired of reading books and having to learn an entire world and history and system and all that other stuff. Admittedly, people do still love that. It's because it's like it's like the joke is, you crack open a book and you're instantly hit with an encyclopedia page of the Goblin Wars that happened 50 years ago. It's just, I really don't care. I want characters. Yep. But I will say, so the first book hardly has any world building at all. I just there's like little bits and stuff. And so you throw it in and it's just all character. It's totally written from, by the end of it, you know who the character is. And on the second book, I do open the world up. There was places she had to go. There was lore that had to be built. And so I start fleshing it out and out and out. And I remember at one point I was like, I'm going to have to draw myself a map just so I can keep it all in my head. And then somewhere along the way, I was like, well, I have a map. Now I'm going to have to actually put it in the book. And so, yeah, that was a whole problem. So anyways, but in the end, it's like, I don't want people to think that there's like no world building at all, because there is. I got into, there's 3 different magic systems. There's, the elves live in a forest where the main trees that they build their platforms on are 5,000 feet high. The canopy is above the clouds. Like, you get fun tidbits that are a lot of fun. And so there is a huge world built out, but you do not get it all at once. You discover it as it's either revealed or the characters put it in. Yeah.
No, I love that though, because literally earlier we were talking about I don't want an information dump at the
Yeah.
beginning of the book. Like with Akatar, the very first time I tried reading it, I could not get through it just because it was so slow and there was so much world building. I couldn't get through it. I love that sort of setup. Give just, I think, what did I say earlier? Make it sprinkle it in,
Sprinkles, yeah. There you go.
make it glitter. Yeah, I wanted to know how you drew your map. How did you come up with the idea for your map?
I remember I was sitting there playing with, I wrote some stuff, and then I remember I went back through and was like, I had to write down things. So in the first story, the character is in a place called the Darkened Deal, which is in the inn at the crossroads in a deep dark forest, and it's exactly half a day's ride in either direction. So if you start anywhere near the day, you have to stop there. It's like it's a play on the old Deal at the Crossroads with the Devil, with the blues song, and like all of it. And so I remember doing that and describing where it was. And so I had to go back and go, okay, well, that's going to be that geography. And then I was just like, then I remember I had a story over here that had this kind of geography. And then I looked at it and I was just like, well, if I connect the dots, done. And then so I had this really horrible thing because I can't even draw a symmetrical stick figure. So I ended up hiring a guy. I can't spend a lot of money. It's like $30. I'm like, bet. And so he got me this map,
I can do
and
$30.
yeah, it's like nothing. And so I was like, so he did it. He did it in a mapping program. Um, and so he put it together, and then somewhere along the way, he got kicked out of the group I was in because he was doing editing on the side, but he was also using AI to do editing. And then people were saying that he was using AI for other stuff.
Oh
And so I
no.
had to distance myself from him. I downloaded the map program. I bought it for like $25. And then I started looking at every one of the assets he used was based in the thing. And so I went in and just edited it, making it a little bit better and changed a couple of things here and there. And yeah, so
Did you use Incarnate?
no, it's called it's Wonder Draft.
Wonderdraft. Okay. The software. One of them that I use for D&D is called Incarnate.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and since D&D came up, I do I DM a game every Tuesday.
Okay, so do you have a work in progress that you can tell us about right now?
Yeah, so Opus 3, the third book. So let me go through the first. So the first one, mainly character based. You get a lot about the character, and she gets put in three moral dilemmas, if you will. And so by the end of it, you really know who she is. The second book is actually twice as long as the first. It's got the world building. It's got tons more characters, but it's got so like to put it the easy way is the first half of the book is told in another woman's POV. And it's actually the protagonist's love interest. So you get her life story up until she meets the main character, and you get a lot of fun stuff. And then you get time skip 17 years back to the present. You get to meet get into the world again, see how their relationship has developed over the past 17 years. And then the third one, you're thrown into her hometown, which has a ton of characters because her mansion has been turned into technically a wayward home. It's not technically an orphanage because they're older. They're just people that have nowhere to go and hang out there. So that gets wild. But then when you get to book 3, which is what I'm currently in revisions on, you get emotional weight to the story. There's a lot of crying involved because you get. So the first story is the main character has decided to go off on her own quest because she's been ignoring a prophecy, and things that happened in book 2 made her realize that she has to do something about it. And so she reluctantly goes around trying to find other bards in the world and testing them to see if they hold the same magic that she does, because her magic is music based. And then the second story, her daughter.
How does she do that?
Their daughter does the.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but like,
That's
how do you test somebody like that?
So she has an axe. Let me I mean, I could go into that one. That's fun. So, anyways, so you saw this symbol because it was the beginning of each chapter. So let me pull it out.
Mhm.
These are the stickers that come with the books, by the way. This is the sonetic axe. This is her axe. So that symbol is the axe blade. And so that is the symbol of the goddess of sonnet in
Okay.
my world. So this is a magical blade that she was given. And whenever she sings a certain note or whenever she casts her magic through it, it glows. But she's realized that if she can sing a certain note, she can actually get it to glow and levitate, and it's really cool. And then if other people do it, if they can have the magic too, it will float and glow too. If not, it just falls. So yeah, so it's an easy test, and then she just
Ah.
kind of teaches other people. So yeah, that's that. So the second story is where the emotions really hit. But the idea is, so she has a daughter, and the fun thing is we're talking about elves here. So she's 102 or 3 in the book. Her daughter is a half elf and around 70. So it's like they have a really weird relationship because the daughter was kidnapped by her father at a really young age, and that's a whole story. But anyways, the idea is in the second story of book 3, the daughter finds the mother's diary and starts reading it. And so it goes through the trauma that her father caused her mother, and it is a lot. So you get all of that laid out. We love kittens, woo, meow meow. And then the third story, we actually get into the fun stuff of the main character Dia has to go back to the city where she grew up, and it's gone kind of full steampunk, sci-fi steampunkish. So you get it morphs into that as well. And
Wow.
the
That
high
sounds like there's so much going on. I don't know how you keep it straight.
it's several 100,000 words. The fun thing is I can say that book 4 is currently yeah, the book 4 is currently in rough draft form. And the third story in it, I like to tease because the fun thing about doing shorter stories is I can change them up. I can do different POVs. I can change subgenres. I'm going to have that one in book 3 that's sci-fi-ish, steampunk-ish. In book 4, we actually have a story that is full noir mystery. It's a lot of fun. It's like a total whodunit with magic and music and all sorts of stuff.
I love that. So it's a sapphic romance?
Yes.
Or it has a sapphic romance element to it?
It has a sapphic romance element to it. The more I keep going through it, you realize that the relationship that's in it is very important to the plot. But I never would have considered it a romantasy. I started it before that. I think that was even coined because the first book's 10 years old, and I played that game 15
Oh,
years
wow.
ago. So it's been a long time in the process. But so I
Yeah.
mean, it's sapphic. I mean, because it said the main character is lesbian. She had a
Hmm.
you want to call it a mistake, whatever you want to call the past relationship with the guy, and there's enough in there that you realize that it was not right for her. The character of Alusha being this one. This is always so weird doing this backwards. This character here, she starts off as
Okay.
very, very heterosexual, still technically attracted to men, but she's fallen in love with the main character.
So
So
like a
that's where
bi-curious situation?
oh gosh, somebody explained it to me the other day. It was like, I think it was I'm cis, white, straight, all of it. So I write this from knowing people that have gone through it, being good best friends with some people. Um,
That was going to be my next question with you being cis, straight, white. How are you writing a sapphic romance?
uh, the, when it all comes down to it, is one, I'm a hardcore feminist. Um, Number two, I'm an ally. I have lots of friends that are all sorts of different persuasions, and I've grown up in a really great way where I've never judged, and I've accepted everybody for who they are, and all that fun stuff. And so, at the end of the day, it started as the main character likes women because I do, but I was heavily inspired by said I whenever I first started in the video game, it was like I had a lesbian friend that took me to lesbian bars, and I got to see all sorts of fun stuff and meet all sorts of fun people, and it's never bothered me. And I just knew that some point I wanted to write that as the representation because it's what I believe. It's the easiest way to go about it. I can talk myself
Yeah.
into and out of it too much.
Are you going to do a sensitivity read with that specifically, since it's not like something inherently that you've experienced? Like,
I
are you
did a
reading like when you do, I don't know how you do alpha reads or whatever?
well. So I mean, it's in book one and two. I did a sensitivity read with a friend that read like the hardcore trauma stuff to make sure I was doing it right. Um, but that's the only sensitivity read I've done. Beyond that, it's just been kind of I have like consulted with friends, making sure that I'm in the right veins and learning the right things. Um, like there's things like so like the easy way to say it is so like okay, so this girl here, she is um, she's got a wolf goddess that's trapped in the cloak. Okay, so the
Okay.
monologue in the monologue in her head is a dialogue. And so you get that kind of fun going back and forth. When she pulls the wolf cowl over her face, she becomes the dire wolf, which is this. You can see both there, her character and the wolf character. And so the joy of it is, whenever I got there, the I was making sure that like the goddess and god, those words are interchangeable, and goddess do not have gender, and so the god is always listed as they them. So you get
Okay.
yeah, and so coming from my generation of Gen X, I've had to learn a lot and be on that sensitive side, and I'm always curious and worried about it and trying to make sure that I'm doing everything justice and learning everything I can.
That's incredible. I was raised by Gen X, and I feel so incredibly blessed by the fact that my parents literally do not care.
Yeah,
So they taught us that to treat people the way that you want to be treated, and to give the respect that you're given, kind of thing. So it's a give and take kind of thing. So I love that you are, not to call you old because that's not what I'm doing. I don't think you're old. But as an older generation from a millennial, I love that you're taking into consideration all of the things. Oh, my
you're
laptop
welcome.
almost fell off. All the things going on, and staying up to date, and keeping that in mind with what you're writing and making it relevant.
Yeah. So the term I was looking for was heteroflexible. That was the term I was not. But in the end, there was also the idea. I will say this: it's like I know that I was asked along the way because it said the idea was I didn't know I realized I'd done it until another author mentioned it. But I've written the world to be it technically queer. Is it queer normative? It's one of those things. That's like I wrote a world in which I wish this world was that it didn't matter who you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was like something I wanted to make sure I got in there. So yeah, it's weird because I do have the point to where Alusha is very straight, but she sees a masculine lesbian she's like, that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure about it, but I'm attracted to it. But then absolutely falls in love, and then you get those kind of conversations later, to where you get, she's happy now, so she's softer, and I'm not as attracted to her as before. But in the end, still has to get men on the side, so the relationship is complicated. It gets really wonky, but in the end, it's like it plays all sides, and you get a really great emotional character out of it who's confused, but it's not confused in a way of like, oh, society's going to not like this. It's confused in the way of like, I'm confused.
No, I think that is so perfect just because I grew up thinking one thing. I grew up thinking I was completely straight. Like my husband, I'm married to a man, I have children with a man, like it's no big deal. But in the last few years, like, and I've even had this conversation with him, been like, I don't know that I'm totally straight. Like, I don't know if it's like just like I think these women are beautiful kind of thing, and I can acknowledge that, like I'm secure in my sexuality and I can acknowledge that, or if it's like if I'm genuinely bisexual. But in the last few months I can confirm that I am. But
I'm
yeah,
always
so I
like,
definitely understand that.
there was like I had a friend. It was like I had male friends, and they were always like wondering, because because I'm big dude, whatever. And some people would think like a little effeminate. I mean, I've got beautiful long hair, all this other stuff, and but I'm solidly attracted to women. But a lot of guys couldn't. They would see me and they would think like, oh, he's totally gay. But then I would meet women who would become my friends, and they would go, "Oh no, if Dan was a woman, he'd be a lesbian. If Dan's a man, he's going to go after women. That's just who he's attracted to. That's it." Yeah, just
Okay, so tell us where we can find your work. Where can we buy it? Where can we find you on social media? Give us all your handles, all your
If you
links.
have any events.
Yeah, are there any events coming up that you're attending? Tell us where we can find you. All the things. Give us all the details.
the main thing is like so. Of course, you can find my book just about everywhere fine books are sold, because I'm gone through Ingram and they sell just about everywhere. Um, of course, it's through Amazon. The ebooks on Kindle, it is available. They're both available on Kindle Unlimited. Um, but of course, you get signed copies. You can get them directly through me. I had to make a new website through, I think it's Fourth Wall. And if you go through
I
my,
love Fourth Wall.
I was in one, I was in a place that was really fun, but they ended up just completely shutting down. And so it happened randomly, and I was kind of expecting it, and so I just had to make a new one. So I went Fourth Wall, and it's been good so far. But in the end, yeah, if you buy my books there, they come signed. If send I think there's a thing you can add a comment to it. You can get them personalized. The fact is, I do, so I sign the copies. Opus 1 comes with 4 stickers. Opus 2 comes with 6 stickers. Yeah. They both come with bookmarks that feature the character art. The fun thing is, there are quotes. Of course, that's backwards. There are quotes from the books on the bookmarks. You only get 2 bookmarks each, but there's 6 different ones for book 1 and 12 different ones for book 2. So good luck. On top of that,
Ooh.
I I wrap it and seal it myself. And the fun thing is, the custom wax seal that I use is what holds it all together. It's there's no tape involved. You get all of that, and yeah, that's all fun, and that is through. If you actually go, I have a Linktree clone. It's from the leap.co, and it's like at Dan underscore Bonzer underscore author. That is going to be my central page. It has all my links on it. It has the link to the Fourth Wall site. I have started a street team slash reader community, called the Emerald Entourage.
Mhm.
I had a fan who read the books and just absolutely fell in love with them. And we started talking, and the next thing we know, she's like, "Let's do this," and I'm like, "Ah," which is really weird because it said going back to the Gen X thing. I'm like of the generation where if something breaks, I'm fixing it. If something, I have to do everything myself.
Yeah.
So getting into book talk has been not only meeting all sorts of new friends and having all sorts of fun and getting into fun interviews, but the idea of community that comes along with it and people wanting to help me get my book out, which
Yes.
is flabbergasting. There's I would say I had so much fun. I still have a lot to get help with. I don't know, and that's the thing. And hopefully more people will help me. But anyways, like the shout out to Anna from Oklahoma City. I graduated college with her. She's actually one of the people that she actually asked me for bookmarks and sent them to her through the mail. And she does book themed yoga in OKC, which is so much fun to see on the social medias because I'm like 3 hours from there. But she actually hands out my bookmarks at her book themed yoga.
That is so cool. Do you know her handle or anything like that? We'd love to mention her in the podcast.
Entropic Yoga. I can link it to you on TikTok. She's also on Instagram. She's just getting
Yeah,
started on
please
TikTok,
do.
so yeah, she's a heck of a lot of fun.
We would
And so
love to be able to boost her out.
yeah. And so that's the I don't want to do anything bigger because I only have 2 books out, but hopefully the third will be out early next year.
Mhm.
And at that point, going into a bigger event with 3 books sounds a lot better.
Okay, and last question I have for you. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Never.
Who designed your cover? Give us their handle, give us their information. We would love to be able to boost them out and get them more clients.
Alusha and the Wolf. Okay. And I know this like we're short on time, so you get like things with human artists. Okay.
That is
I'm trying to get
so
this.
good.
So she has blue eyes, and you can see how she's side eyeing. The cowl is too.
Yeah.
And then if you look at this one, you can see how the wolf is the same cowl, but with a human artist, you get
Yeah.
something. Bear with me while I grab that sticker again. The idea is you get
Yeah.
things like this symbol. Do you see the inspiration
Mhm. Yes.
right there?
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's what you get for human artists.
That is beautiful.
This is Abby Loudon, and said I can give you her handle on TikTok. It's got dragon emoticons in it and stuff, but it's Abby on TikTok, and I shout her
Yes,
out every
please.
time I can because I remember when I did something funny. I was like, because it said I used her artwork for the stickers for book 2, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, can I send you the stickers? And she was like, of course. Which is like, there's that sticker, and there's that sticker. So anyways, I was like, yeah, can I send you the stickers? She's like, yeah, sure. So when she got this whole book in the mail with the stickers, she flipped out because it's a book with her art in it. And of course it's all through there. She's in the dedication and acknowledgments and all of it. So yeah, I shout her out every chance I get.
Oh, I'm sure she loves that so much.
Oh yeah.
Yes, definitely. Give us all the handles. That art is truly beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, like the other artwork, I'm won't do the shot. Is like this guy. So the guy that did this one, which is the Attack Dia, he is another author,
Mhm.
and he loved my work and was like, "Hey, you're not doing this. You're not going forward with Opus 2 because artwork. So here, just let me give this to you." And so he's not available for art because he just did it for me. And then the artist that did this Dia on the on the for Opus One, she is no longer reachable because she's gone on to be a New York Times bestseller author and children's author and illustrator. And so I have like
Oh, yes, good for her.
yeah, this was 10 years ago, so I didn't figure she would like check all the emails that I had for her. But in the end, yeah, so I now get to say that it features a piece of art from New York Times bestseller.
That is amazing. All right. Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time. We have, oh my God, I just dropped my computer. We have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation with you, and I'm sincerely sorry for the late start time. I do hope we get to see you back for another fantasy episode later down the road. And you are always welcome into our lives whenever we do the live streams. And you can pitch all the things. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've had fun.
I definitely had fun.
I'm so glad. All right. Well, we are going to sign off for the night now.
I could say that even though I'm an introvert, I can tell a story. So you get me started. Good luck on getting me to stop.
All right. Well, thank you again. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. And like I said, I do hope we get to have you back for maybe a panel fantasy author episode. I think that would be fun.
I'll add it to the agenda.
Okay. She's our organizer.
I'm like, you just tell me and I'll make it.
The rest of us are squirrels on leashes.
Yeah, I can understand
Thank
that.
you.
No, thank you.
Have a great night, Dan.
I will try.
Thank you for listening to Twisted Plotlines. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, make sure to hit that follow button and to keep an eye on our socials for the next release.